Good evening. Welcome to Gooner Claude TV. I'm Lavanja, and we've got our guests here. We've got a few subjects we're going to cover today. Maybe a bit on the coronavirus update. Not really too much from yesterday. Premier League decision as well. That's an interesting one. And then maybe looking at other things, what's going on in our beloved club. So before we get on to those subjects, let's introduce everybody. Introduce yourself. So. Obviously, everyone knows Claude, his channel. Claude, say hello, mate.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all well. And yes, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. My uncle in Italy has caught the virus, so I'm wishing him well on that because it's not good. But we have to move on. We have to carry on as normal.
And we've got a new guest, a special guest today. He's not been on our show yet, so I'm looking forward to hearing his views. Introduce yourself, young man.
Yeah, he's been on my show very long time.
So a lot of you, so my name's Daniel. A lot of you guys know me as the Blind Gooner. I know Claude's been plugging my channel quite a bit. So yeah, and a lot of you who watch AFTV will know me. I'm the blind guy from those interviews, so that's where you guys will know me.
Welcome on board, mate. Be a pleasure having a chat with you today. And gentlemen who needs no announcement. He announced himself. He loves to announce himself. Go ahead, mate. The man with the best wallpaper in town. The man with tell him who you are, mate.
It's a spare room. No, hello everybody. I hope you're all well. Diesel here. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what we speak about today. Two things. Number one, Claude, my condolences for was it your uncle? I hope he gets better.
Well, he's not better. He's not well at the moment. Apparently, he's really caught it bad. We're hoping he's going to be okay. He's 79 years old, so it's no surprise really.
Yeah, no, obviously, yeah, support goes out to him. And Daniel, heard a lot about you, seen a lot of your interviews, mate. So yeah, glad to share a podcast with you. Hope you're
Thanks very much. And I also have my own channel as well, so be sure to check that out, guys. It's the Blind Gooner. So if you want to check that out, feel free over there and subscribe. And I do a lot of good content on there.
Thanks for plugging your show, Daniel. We'll be keeping an eye out for that, mate. So look, swiftly moving on. Obviously, we've all been looking at what content to sort of go over during this bleak period. We did promise people that we will be doing sort of some corona updates, purely because with the reach that Claude has, etc., it'll be nice to know what's going on across the nation, really, and globally. We had some interesting guys from abroad telling us what was happening in the likes of Canada, Kenya. So this thing is serious. So we've all been waiting for some specific updates, and really not much to sort of move on from yesterday, other than the fact that they're trying to push through this coronavirus bill, which is a temporary bill to deal with this situation. As it stands, you've got 137 deaths now. All the schools have been closed. I understand that there are certain places telling me that armies are being deployed. It's not confirmed yet. Police will be handed power to arrest and isolate people in part of that bill. That's what they're looking to push through. And markets will be limiting people to products and what they purchase. And even interestingly as well, the interest rates, the levels are lowest ever, with 0.1%. It's the lowest the Bank of England have forecast in 325 years. So there's a lot of different things going on. Then you've had a gentleman, condolences to his family. Craig Ruston is now the youngest to have passed from this at 47. It's only a few years older than some of us here. It's quite frightening. So, I mean, what are your thoughts, gents? We've been waiting for some updates, but still Boris seems to just been delaying things. Claude, what do you think?
Go on, Claude.
Oh, me first. Yeah. Right now, it's worrying times. It's worrying times, but we must, as I say, we mustn't panic too much into it. Yeah, we mustn't panic too much. If we keep if we keep our spirits high, I'm sure we can get it all. We can come through it. Come through it well. You know. Listen, as I said, I've got someone over in my uncle in Italy is suffering at the moment. I wish him. I really hope he comes through it. I mean, I'm praying for him every night.
Have you spoken to him, Claude? Have you been in touch with him personally?
No, yeah. My father just phoned me up yesterday and told me about it. So he's in contact with him at the moment. So I will definitely ring him tomorrow sometime, see how he is. It's horrible. What can you do? I mean, I heard you said the youngest was 46, but I heard there was a baby died on this. Or am I wrong?
I sincerely hope not. No, not in the UK. I'm only quoting UK stats here, so I'm hoping there hasn't been any victims at that age yet.
I heard there was a baby was among one of the casualties as well, which is what. And of course,
wow.
Isn't Peter Whittingham the footballer? Didn't he just go as well?
Yeah.
Isn't he about 30?
Yeah, he fell. He fell and hit his head. So that's a bit of an unfortunate one. That's a freak accident.
Sorry, was that another? Sorry.
Yeah. Condolences to his family too, though. No, that's fine, mate.
I got that completely wrong there. Sorry, I thought
it was a weird one. It was a weird one, that one.
Well, rest in peace to him, for him, and my thoughts are with his family.
Yeah, of course.
It was a good player. It's a good player as well, and.
Well, 35 is no age, is it? It's terrible.
35 years old, yeah. And we all remember Rocky, didn't we? He went in his 30s, you know what I'm saying? So it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, I've been down, I've done my usual thing, went to my cafe for about half an hour, had my breakfast and went straight home. I'm not doing much.
Fair enough.
Making much effort to go out. I'm keeping nice and... keep a nice distance. That's what I'm advising people to do. Just go out, keep a nice certain distance. Anyone coughs, just jump out of the way. You know what I'm saying? So, these things are going. You know what's winding me up about all this is I heard from someone who knows someone else and who knows someone else that this is.
There's a lot of disinformation there.
Stop all this bullshit, mate. You know, I'm even hearing people going on about aliens and things like that. You know, I saw hear it, mate. I don't want to hear it. You know, I heard that we're going to stop. Everything is going to come to the stops. This and that, all bullshit.
I think that was a bit of a parody from another. The only message we should listen to is
the only message we should listen to now is if you get bulletins from the Prime Minister. That's the only people we should be listening to. Apart from that, I think we should just carry on as normal. You know, normal. Don't get involved. And this is what people are doing now is panicking other people, and this is what happens, and everyone starts going, you know, in a big panic by putting these messages out. It's silly, really. It's unbelievable. You know, let's carry on as normal. If we carry on as normal, we'll be okay. Anyway, that's my little piece. Sorry.
I agree with you, Claude, in what you've said. And you know what? Having thought of it now with Daniel on, there's a total different conversation we could have with Daniel on the show, because we've not really discussed how it affects someone with a disability, have we? We've looked into people with, you know, homeless. That, you know, no one's really considered the homeless. No one's considered the elderly enough. How, Daniel? I mean, obviously, you know, being sort of visually impaired or blind. How is it affecting you? I mean, especially with the fact that obviously everyone's stockpiling and going to the shops, and the elderly are struggling as it is. How are you dealing with things during this tough time?
It's not really affecting me as such, because I do my shopping online. I mean, sometimes the stuff comes and it's you know, out of stock or you can't get it. I mean, it's a little bit worrying, because when not just me, but when any blind person goes out, so if we get lost or something, we have to rely on people helping us. So naturally that there's close contact there, because somebody's saying, here, just take my arm and I'll guide you across the road. Or
so these are things we don't think of, Daniel. Do you know what I mean?
It's worrying in that sense, because I mean, I've just tried staying away from people in the sense, I'll just say, listen, if you want to help me, just tell me where to go. Tell me where to go, rather than taking my arm. Or and we've not been given any clear instructions. I mean, they've said about the elderly and the vulnerable, but they've not really come out and said for people with disabilities, especially like the RNIB. The RNIB's not really come out and said, this is what you, as a blind person, this is what you should be doing, or this is what you shouldn't be doing. And in respects to organizations like guide dogs, they've not come out and said, oh, you should be walking your dog, or because we have an issue with, like, we have the government telling us that try and stay home where possible, and if you've got people who are in the vulnerable category in your household, you should stay home even if you haven't got any symptoms. But myself, I have a guide dog, so my dog needs to go out every day. Listen, he would go absolutely crazy if he stayed in all day every day. And considering
not to mention about the mess and the smell, Daniel.
Well, I mean, that isn't a problem because he can go out in the garden. But in terms of like walking and in terms of walking and stuff, they're saying that because obviously to avoid people and that to stay at home. I mean, my wife's got a low immune system, so I've got to be careful in respects to her. So it's not necessarily myself, but she's got a low immune system, so if I go and catch it and bring it back here, she could potentially get it. So they've not really come out and given any guidance on that. Especially like the RNIB or guide dogs as an organization. But people are just panicking, aren't they? People are just panicking. You've got people panic buying in the shops. I mean, I went over to my local shop the other day and somebody had just spent 400 quid like in the queue in front of me, and that was in a local shop, just buying toilet rolls and soap, and I'm just like, this is crazy. Just chill out. You don't need to panic buy. And secondly, you don't need to buy toilet roll. That is not one of the symptoms to have profound diarrhea.
That's a strange one for me, Daniel. I don't get that, mate, at all. I don't know what the big deal is. I mean,
do you know what it is? I saw somebody. I saw a tweet the other day. Somebody was saying that the Dutch are queuing to get their cannabis, the Americans are queuing to get their guns, and we're queuing to get toilet roll. What does that say us about a nation?
I know.
And you're getting, you are getting people. I just want to echo Claude's point about everybody just chilling out and stop reading all these messages. You're getting celebrities and famous people putting out these messages, these panic messages, going, oh, this is a deadly virus, or you need to take it seriously, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's like, why are you putting out those messages when at a time where we all need to be calm and think rational, you're going against what everybody's saying, and you're putting out these panic messages just to scaremonger everybody.
That's it, mate. I mean,
and it is, and I'm not really I'm not really big on politics, but I've listened to every one of those news conferences that Boris Johnson's done, and it was only today that he's come out and he's trying to be positive and telling everybody just to calm down. We will get through this. It's going to take time. If you follow the guidelines, and those are important because, it will stop the spread. And I mean, you've still got people just going around without a care in the world. And especially,
Daniel, we can also say, sorry to interrupt, but we can also say that we're not really being told anything different. I mean, I'm really happy you're on here because it gives us a chance to you mentioned you've got a missus who's, she's vulnerable. But then we never would have thought about having you on the show. We never would have thought about the fact that, we know obviously you have a disability, but then your disability means you're heavily reliant on people on the outside, which means there's a contact with the outside. Then that contact with the outside can actually impact your home and your wife. But I mean, we'll come back to that. I mean, I'd like to hear Diesel's thoughts on what's going on as well. Try and spread it around a little bit. So Diesel, we've heard a little bit about Boris. He's harumped and pumped again, and he's not really said much. There's not really anything different to yesterday other than they're waiting on a few things. What have you heard that's any different from yesterday, and have you heard anything?
No, you see, I look at it slightly differently, right, to a lot of people. I'm actually, listen, I'm mad enough to admit it. I'm worried. I'm worried about this. There's a lot of people I know who are sort of, being a bit tongue-in-cheek about it. I'm still seeing pubs being rammed and people going to restaurants and basically, videos on social media saying that we don't give a shit. We're at the pub where we're drinking. Yeah, that's all great, right? That's all great. It's only great, but until it happens to one of your own, right, then I'd like to see you do another video and go down the pub again that night. Things I worry about something I can't see, right? This thing is invisible. No one knows what it is. I've been watching Boris's his press conference every single day. And to be totally honest, Lev, there's a part of me that thinks I feel a bit sorry for him because he doesn't know himself. No one knows, right? But he's trying to obviously put a face on it. He's trying to put a brave face. He's trying to calm people down. Then the other part of me thinks he knows a lot more than what he's telling us, right? I don't know which is which. I'm a little bit every day. The message is the same, right? My worry is not so much myself. I don't, and I think that's where people are getting it wrong. They're thinking, well, if it happens to me, I'm sort of quite, of a decent age still. I'll be all right. It's not about you. It's who you see. So when you see your nan and granddad, when you see, it's who you interact with and, and who you give it to. That's what worries me. You know what I'm saying? We all know that all the schools.
So you're more concerned about how you affect others. You're not so concerned personally in regards to yourself, but you might inadvertently harm one of your family members more elderly than you.
If someone caught it, if I had it, right? See, this is the thing, right? There's a lot of people saying, oh, I would know if I've got it, right? Now, we've obviously seen in the last week or two, people who have come out and said, I've got it, although I'm not showing symptoms, I've been tested positive. So that tells me that there's people who have it, right, and they're not necessarily showing any symptoms, right? So that's a bit of a strange one, and that's a bit of a worry, right? Then, I mean, to be honest, when this first started coming out, I wasn't really worried. But you can't, when you go to the supermarket, I mean, I went, earlier on, and I'm not being funny.
It's like Walking Dead.
Honestly, I'm telling you now, right? One of the Tesco's, it was literally a 1 in 1 out system. Right, it was a 1 in 1 out system. The queue, I drove past the Costco, right? The queue around the whole of the car park, and the car park's massive, right? You can't help but worry and panic when you're seeing things like this. You can't help it.
Do you think that's psychological? Do you think that's psychological, though? Do you think
no?
I'll tell you what, Diesel, I'll be straight with you, right? Until I went into the supermarkets and started seeing how bare they were, I wasn't really taking it that seriously. It's when I walked into a supermarket and it was like a scene from 28 Days Later or some sort of zombie movie where everything's gone. And I'm like, what's going on? And, I don't know. I don't know if it's a little bit of us just going over the top or whether it is serious. And that's what, that's the crazy thing. I'm looking at some of the chats in here. Some people are thinking it's a conspiracy of some sort. We already know there's the conspiracy theorists out there. We've got some people from abroad tuning in who are also from Cyprus and places like that talking about it. Everyone seems to be talking about it. There's people, the depressed have been hit hard as well. There's a few people putting messages in our chat room saying, they've got people that suffer from depression, but then they can't go out to get the shopping because, you've got people like Daniel, then you've got people that are elderly, then you've got people that are, maybe unwell. They're the ones that we've got to be concerned about, I think. But you know what? We're trying to keep it positive. We're going to see what happens. I think they will still have some sort of a lockdown.
They need
What's
to.
your thoughts?
They need
Everyone think there's going to be a lockdown?
I think it probably will come, but at the moment, Boris is keeping quite cool about things, and I think he's handling it quite well. To be honest with you, I think the way he's doing it is the right way. Yeah. By the way, everyone, just keep hitting that like button, and you know, please keep hitting the like button. It helps the channel, and you know,
that's a good point someone's made. China.
Good.
Sorry, Claude, but China's cases have dropped, almost done. So is it as bad? Is it that bad?
Yeah.
Is it as bad?
I think it's a time thing. I think eventually it will just go through, and once the temperature goes up as well, and I think that will help as well. So I think maybe 10 weeks, 11 weeks, maybe, like Boris said. Let's go on to the decision there from the Premier League today.
No problem, mate. Yeah, we can do that.
Suspended till the 30th of April.
Absolutely.
My thoughts. This is my thoughts now. Is that we've got to try. I mean, I know it's difficult. We're going to have to try and get this league completed. And you know what I would do, even if we have to start this bloody league in July. And this is my idea. I wonder what you think about it, how we could do this and get this next season start a bit later, but still fit it in before the Euro Championship. What I suggest we do, if we do start it late and finish late, the European competitions next year, we could play the 38 games, 2 games a week, but the European competitions goes just into a straight knockout rather than a Champions League, just for one season, just a knockout from the 32 clubs. So you've got the last 32, last 16, last 8, last 4, and so there's 5 rounds of games. Yeah, I think that would solve a lot of the issues. FA Cup, maybe just do one game, no replay. And I think I believe that way we can get the all sorted in within the year. You know what I'm saying? So there is a lot of good possibilities there to do that. Whether they'll do it because of the money involved, I'm not sure. But wouldn't you say that's a good idea, boys? What do you think of that?
Well, Claude, I mean, firstly, they haven't really come out with a decision as what they're going to do with this current league title or this league, this actual season. They've extended it, obviously, the postponement to April the 30th. The deadline, the date that the season has to be completed by is by June the 30th. So if we are going to complete, it has to be completed by then. Now, I've heard on the grapevine, I'm not going to say how, someone within the analytics team of a Premiership is what I've been told, who knows, 3 different things, potential outcomes have been discussed, right? One is the league just comes to an end. Liverpool awarded the title. I think Norwich go down, Leeds come up. That's one option they're discussing, apparently. 2, just cancel the season straight off. Liverpool not crowned. Leeds stay in the Championship, which I don't see. And 3 games a night, 3 matches a week for each team, so that they can complete it by a deadline. What are your thoughts on those 3 potential options?
Can I just say, on your first option, the one that you were saying is the first, I don't see how they can do that, because it's all well and good promote it. I think the first option, there's loads of legal ramifications to that, you know, because, you know, who gets the European places, who gets the Europa League and Champions League spots. And if you just send down Norwich and bring up Leeds, you're going to have the other Championship teams in that fight going, well, hang on a second, how can you just put up Leeds? And then same with Liverpool. I sort of get why people want to give Liverpool the title, because they've practically got it anyway. But I just think, in the interest of fairness, I don't see how you could go down that option. The third option, I think I can't see happening because they just playing too many games in a week. There's not going to be enough time for the players to have rest and recovery. They
would probably have to use their full squads, Daniel. I mean, it's an unprecedented situation, isn't it? So something is going to have to be done.
Do you know what? This is how I think it. If it can't continue, I personally think the only option, the only way you can solve it peacefully, is just scrapping the entire season and just go back to the standings from last season and then just carry them through into next season. That's the only way you can do it. That's not going to cause any problems.
Do you want to get that, Claude?
I can't believe it.
One of Claude's women.
Just get that, Claude, for a second.
I'm trying to. I can't.
So Daniel, just to get it clarified.
Yeah,
this girl is persistent.
Come on. Sorry. No, I can't.
It's time
do
to
your
go.
Do your thing, Claude. Do your thing. Go on.
All right, go. It's booty call.
Yeah, you know, didn't you?
Yeah. So you're saying, Daniel, before we were so rudely interrupted.
No, it's all right.
By Claude's side piece.
Claude's got to keep up with his women. Come on, that's important. So,
yeah, but Daniel, can they keep up with him?
Oh God, here we go. There's another subject.
There's the question, isn't it? That's the...
okay, we're safe. The phone.
But no, just
the phone now. Go on.
But just to clarify, I do think that that's the only way you can peacefully resolve it, because I think with the other options, there's too many legal ramifications, and also as well,
going to be legal ramifications everywhere. Sorry to interrupt, Daniel, but whatever they do, there's going to be someone not happy. If we think about it logically,
I agree.
Someone's not going to be happy.
I agree, but suspending the season and just going back to the standings of last season, you can keep the normality of the rotations of the season, if that makes sense. So if it can't be played at the end of April for whatever reason, say this virus is actually has spread more, in suspending the season and just going back to last standings seasons, you can still have a transfer window in June, which means that contracts won't get disrupted, because you have to factor in as well, going into the summer, it's going to impact on players' contracts. If players' contracts are due to run out and they're still playing games, that's going to have legal implications. So suspending
that's the whole point of the June 30th deadline, isn't it? That's why they're giving the June 30th deadline. They're very wary of the players' contracts running out.
But if they can't complete that for whatever reason, because nobody knows what's going to happen with this virus. So if they can't complete that, and I just think suspending it is going to be the only option, because you have to think as well, we've got next season, which now is probably going to be a congested season because we've got the Euros the year after. And then not to mention after that Euros, that season then is going to get disrupted because we go into that trying to get that season done, because the season after that goes into the World Cup in 2022, which obviously we know that that's a Winter World Cup. So therefore that season's going to be disrupted. So I just think to try and keep the normality of the season and the fixture list and the normal duration of a season, I think suspending it and going back to the standings for last season and just awarding the European places and all that jazz from the standings of last season, I think that can be the only conclusive option that they can take.
Listen, it's going to be very difficult. I don't know if that is
Sorry,
possible.
boys. Sorry.
What do you reckon, Diesel?
Sorry, boys.
Welcome back, Claude. What do you reckon, Diesel?
Welcome back. Sorry to. There's a super chat. Did you read that out? Come up.
What? Alexander Gomez. Yep. Thank you for the donation. No way should they scrap the season, mate. I kind of agree with Alexander there. I don't think they should. There's a few others saying that they should put it to vote. There's Sned and Ferreira said a few things too. Won the cheeks. Thank you. Also, give it to Liverpool. You guys are great. Thanks for the compliment. Doesn't mean we're giving it to Liverpool. Diesel, tell me, what are we doing?
Yeah, I was going to say.
What should we do, Diesel?
First of all, yes, I've just seen a lot of the comments in the chat. We will come to the comments. Sorry, guys. I know it feels like when we get on a flow, we do sometimes forget to read you guys, your comments out. So much appreciated and keep them coming. Personally, I can't see it. I can't see it being completed. Yeah, do you know what? I was just about to say. I agree with Omar. I don't want to. I don't want them to do it, but I've just got a feeling that they will have a meeting eventually, and they will decide to scrap it. We're not even at the peak of this, and from what I'm hearing, it's hard. It's weird because you hear one story and then you hear something completely different by someone else. But we're still around. Well, from what I heard, we're still around about 10 to 14 weeks away from this virus hitting its peak. If that is true, there's no way this season's going to be played out. No way. So then you have a conversation where you're looking, you're thinking, okay, so what's the fairest way we can do it? Do we just scrap this whole season? Which I
what do you think?
It's hard. I don't.
It's all well and good having an opinion, but no one's got the actual answer.
But why can't we do this?
You know why, Liv? Because there isn't a fair answer. There isn't a fair way. There is always. It's true, isn't it? Someone's going to benefit and someone's going to forfeit.
There are going to be upset people, upset teams, no matter what they do. Whether it's Liverpool not getting it or getting it, whether it's people missing out on Champions League or getting Champions League when they shouldn't. At the end of the day, there's no fair outcome. Claude, go on. You sounded like you had something you wanted to tell us. Go ahead, mate. What do you think?
I still think this can be resolved, even if we have to finish it in August and then go on to September. With my plan, I think you can actually get this. We can still go into the Euros 2021. So,
Claude, let me ask.
It's not impossible. It's not impossible to sort this out. You know what I'm saying? But we have to. There must be a cut. I suppose there has to be a cut-off point, though. But I wouldn't say June the 30th. It has to be the cut-off point because we can even go August.
Season, isn't it, Claude? That's the problem. You got next season as well. They got to fit back in. So do they play next season?
So what? So we start late. The next season, the late October. But if you play as I said, if you cut all the cup, even cut the cup competitions out for one season. We can cut the cup League Cup, FA Cup, cut them out for one season. It can be done. It can be done. You know what I'm saying? It's not an impossible thing to sort out.
The more you push the seasons back,
there's a question. 1 second, Daniel. Question, good one. Mally Mo, similar to what Claude was saying, along those lines. Question for panel. Why not play knockout the season quicker and make Champions knockout stages with one legs rather than two? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it could work. Less games.
So when you say knockout stages, is that just to decide the European places, the Premier League title, and the relegation?
Well, no, you've got the Champions League. You've got Champions League and Europa now, right? But instead of making it over two legs, make them over one. Just knockout. That's what he's saying. I think that's what Mally Mo's saying there. And also the same to go with the Champions League. Just knock out one-off matches. But then to make it fair, I would imagine it would have to be on neutral territory rather than one home game. I think that might work. Anyone else Got thoughts on that?
Do you know what, right? I know this is going to sound really stupid.
It probably will,
me,
Diesel, coming from you.
It's me, I know you say. You know I'm a natural blonde, right? Oh my God, I just saw 2 of Claude. Right, why don't the managers pick their first 11? So, say, for example, it was our next game, it would have been, was it Brighton? No, yeah, Brighton.
Brighton.
So, whichever outside, if Arteta was to name his 11 for that game, and then Brighton, the Brighton manager, is it Chris Potter, something Potter? Graham Potter picked his 11 for that game. Both sides are tested for it, right? If they're all fine and it's negative, why don't they play the game behind closed doors? Is it?
I think that still could be a possibility, going behind closed doors. I can't listen. The government have already banned mass gatherings, so if the Premier League concludes and that ban is still in place, I don't see how they can not play it behind closed doors. I don't see how they can let fans in.
Oh, Jake, I love you, man.
Speaking of fans, Diesel's got one fan in here that keeps plugging him non-stop. Big time. Diesel, it's one of your mates. You paid him, eh?
But can I just say?
I want to read it more than once. Go on.
Can I just say, going back onto Claude's point about pushing the seasons back, we have to be careful because the more you push the seasons back, the more it's going to impact on that 2022 World Cup. And there's only so far you can push them back, because that season is already going to get disrupted because it's a Winter World Cup.
Okay, I've just got a question from the boss here. Shamin or Shamin? Great show, guys. He says, interesting subjects. Good to see Daniel here as well. So here you are, Daniel. Our boss Shaheen has said, good to see you, mate. And thank you very much for that, Shaheen.
Well. Still $14.99. It's like he's on a sale. Every time he puts he puts one in at $15.99, $16.99. Super chat only $14.99 with Claude Gooner.
Lovely. Thank you very much for that, Shaheen. Sorry, I'll get it right one day, won't I?
That's an interesting one.
No, you won't, Claude.
Stephanie, league was voided for World War One, but no football was taking place. That's an interesting fact, Stephanie. How old was you then? It was just a joke. It's just a joke. Yeah. Diesel might be. Diesel might. Who is this Jason Mister? You paid him.
I don't know him. I promise. I don't know him. I don't know who he is.
Whatever, mate.
Diesel, have you got a stalker or something? Have you got some weird thing going on?
There's a question.
No, it's either real or it's someone having a wind up. But I'm hoping and praying it's someone real. So if it is Jake,
question for panel from Secret Agent Randy Beans. Interesting name. Are they going to push back the World Cup in Qatar in 2022? Well, it depends on how many air cons they can get in. And is it going to be in the summer? I can't see it in the summer. It's got to be in the winter.
It's already a winter World Cup.
Yeah, it's got to be winter. Otherwise, you'll be burning to bits. Imagine someone with Wayne Rooney's complexion, not that he plays for England anymore, being in Qatar.
Yeah, well. Oh, Alexander Gomez has come in. This is not rocket science, mate. Play the rest of the season behind closed doors, broadcast accordingly to fans for free, says Alexander. Good.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it for free. I can tell you that now. Listen, Sky are going to want as much money if they broadcast it.
I heard this morning. Someone was telling me it's in the small print on the season ticket. The season tickets, right? If we don't see this season out, every season ticket holder will not get refunded. Will not get the refund, so they lose the money on their tickets.
Well, they won't knock it off next season's season ticket.
No,
they won't knock it off next season, Claude.
Apparently,
what would be funny going back?
Is that just an Arsenal thing, or is that a?
I don't know, but
Premier League club.
Apparently a lot of season tickets have got that in their
because that wouldn't surprise me if it was just an Arsenal thing, because that would be very Arsenal-like to do that.
Only Arsenal.
I don't think
regarding the coronavirus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That would be a Stan Kroenke thing, wouldn't it? Oh, I still want your money, even though you can't come and see. You know?
Well, do you remember when we were fixing up the ground at Highbury? It's probably before. I'm not sure if it's before Daniel's time. When we had the fake fans in the background
I remember
on the wall. So when the shot went, so the shot went over the bar, it would literally bounce back off the mural. Yeah. So if they were to televise these games behind closed doors, the atmosphere would be dead. Imagine when a goal went in. So what would they have? Canned fans, like they do with canned laughter. That
was a total waste of time putting that behind that goal, mate. Jesus
and the other thing as well.
Real cool.
But say they televise it and play it behind closed doors, you're still going to get fans congregating outside the stadium, because look at what happened when they had the the Paris Saint-Germain game in the Champions League behind closed doors. They had a lot of fans outside the ground. Especially with Liverpool fans, if they're going to win the title, they ain't going to stay away, are they? They're going to be all over Anfield, whether they can get in the ground or not.
Give it to them. I think we should just give them the title. There's not going to be much of a fanfare, and we could just quietly scupper away and forget about it. That's probably a good option.
Do you know though, right? Is there like a part of you guys that just looks at it and thinks to yourself, like, it's so sad that it always revolves around money? If you look at it from like Stan Kroenke's point of view, I would he rather if all the owners of these Premier League clubs had a choice whether to play the rest of the season behind closed doors, providing obviously the players are are tested and they're negative and they're all fine, would they rather that or just scrap the season? I think they'd probably say scrap the season, because can you imagine? We all know Arsenal make about 3.5 million every home game, right? Now to play all those games, have we got 9 or 10 games left? To play those 9 or 10 games behind closed doors, the amount of money they would lose.
What about TV commitments, though, Diesel?
It all goes down to money.
I mean, look, Sneddon Ferreira's asked a similar, relevant question based on what you're saying. It's not about behind closed doors, but we could face the possibility of players getting injured by playing 2 games in 3 days for 2 months if the season resumes. Would they risk it? Well, the fact of the matter is, will clubs risk it? But then, Diesel, what you're mentioning there is TV commitments. Would Arsenal still get paid for TV commitments, and would they rather just go on with it?
No, yeah, I get that, but like we're all in this day and age now where we're actually looking at it thinking 2 games a week is a lot. No, it's not. Why do we all think that's a lot? 2 games a week, right? Fully utilise the squad. That's not a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? They play 1 game, right? Then they sit out the next game, right? Because they need a rest. Come on, these are athletes we're talking about here.
Well, we've already had Arsenal players complaining about their fitness this season. Well, at least they'll have 2 months to get their fitness up to scratch. You know what I mean? They got 2 months off. So.
Why would it be 2 games every 3 days? There's only 9 games left, isn't there?
Yeah, but I'm guessing if you think about the deadline, it's been put back to April the 30th. And then you think about by the time it kickstarts, it could be May. They're trying to squeeze all these in, depending on how quickly it can resume. Absolutely. So I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one. I've never seen in my entire lifetime a season get absolutely abandoned. Yeah. So I don't know if that is actually going to happen. Moving on to more positive things, guys, though. Arteta has been given a clean bill of health. And the training centre has been reopened after a deep clean. So apparently they're going back into training. Is that a sign that they're expecting it to be resuming?
But no one really knows. They've got to keep training, haven't they?
Yeah, so they've got to keep training. Do you know what?
They need to be fit for when they get back. But I suppose the ones that are isolated and not training. The ones that are just training are training, isn't it? So I don't see any problem in that.
Do you know, I bet Arteta's looked on it and said, do you know what, we've got a few months off. I can use these few months to work with these players and get my philosophy in a bit more. Because you think he's only come in since December and he hasn't really had time to work with the players, has he? He hasn't really had time to get his... I know he had that 2 weeks when we had that winter break, but that's not long enough to get what he wants into these players. So he's probably looking at it, well, they can still work on tactics and work on his philosophy, because we've got till the 30th of April, which is the next deadline. That's still over a month away, isn't it? So it's still got a long time to put a lot of work in. That's almost like a pre-season.
It could benefit us then, Daniel. I mean, that could benefit us. I mean, it would have been nice to see if we were going to finish in that top 4 or top 5 position. I don't know. I mean, what happens with the Man City thing? Does that get upheld? If that's upheld, do the current top 5 get in? I mean, there's so many things.
Do you know what?
Look,
I worry about that, because their ban, they were meant to be appealing their ban. And I've just got a horrible feeling that UEFA are going to go, oh, what with everything else going on, we'll just wipe your ban because it's less important. I'm hoping they don't, and I'm hoping it is upheld.
They can't do that. They can't do that.
I'm hoping it is upheld.
I don't think that'll happen.
That's giving everyone else a free license to go out
that's
and do
why
the
I
same.
think it should. That's why I think it should be upheld. That's why I think. But you never know with UEFA, just to turn around and go, you know, we've got bigger things to worry about than your ban. So, you know, you never know with UEFA. Sometimes they do good decisions, sometimes they don't. So it's just.
See, the problem is with the Champions League is it involves travel, whereas the Premier League does, you know, obviously it involves travel within your own country, but it's not as risky. So I think that if anything's going to definitely go Champions League, how do you complete that? How does it take place? And you know, if it does take place, who are your favourites to win it, guys? I mean, I don't know if it's even worth asking. And also for people at home, what are you doing during the time you're stuck indoors now? Because a few people have asking us. Diesel, who's winning the Champions League if it ever does go ahead?
Do you know what? I do have a feeling Man City could win it this year. If it goes ahead, I think
that'll put the cat amongst the pigeons if they do win it, because they can't retain it. They can't be in it next season.
I was going to say that would be a worst possible scenario for UEFA. I bet UEFA would ideally like Man City to get knocked out.
That'll be horrible.
I've got a feeling on this one that they're going to do a mini tournament with the teams that are left and get on with it and decide it in about a couple of weeks. That's how I can see it. That's the only way I can see that being solved.
The old school winning goal, just the last winning goal.
The other thing I've got to ask though is that there's still teams in it that their ties are left in limbo. So like you've still got you've still got the Chelsea tie, Chelsea Bayern Munich tie. Yes, Bayern Munich were all but through, but if they're going to scrap that and go to a mini tournament, I bet teams who are looking like they were going to get knocked out are probably thinking, actually, we got a chance here. You know what I mean? Like if they scrap that, if they scrap the current standings as it stands, I mean, how do they work that out? Because
mate, there's so many permutations with everything, with regards to the Premiership, with regards to Europa, with regards to the Champions League. You know, no one really knows what's going to happen. I mean, it'd be nice to shed some light, but trying to get on a lighter note, Diesel, what have you been doing with your spare time now? There's no footy, no sport, nothing. Talk to me. What have you been up to?
I'll tell you what, right? Honestly, right? I need to recommend this. So basically, I'm a lover of Netflix, right? But I've been on it hard. What
have you been watching? Yeah. What have you been watching?
Netflix.
What's your favourites?
I'm in this thing at the moment, right? It's called Penance. So, right, it's a 3-part psychological series. I'm not going to ruin it, but it is absolutely
What's
brilliant.
It called?
Penance.
Penance?
Penance.
Oh,
yeah.
right, okay.
Right, I've just finished watching The Stranger. The Stranger.
Oh,
That was
that.
class. I love that.
I'm still watching that. I'm on the 4th episode of that.
No spoilers, then.
Danny boy, you are gonna love it.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
spoil. Don't spoil it because I'm
No,
on
I
episode
won't.
4. And
The Witcher.
I promise you, I won't.
Anyone got The Witcher on? Done The Witcher? Or Aaron Hernandez? That's a good one.
not yet.
The
I'm
American-
about to start Peaky Blinders as well. I'm about to start. I've not watched
Oh,
that
mate,
yet.
Fever Pitch is one to watch.
Hey, Claude
Liv,
has not. He has. Go on.
Yeah, you mentioned the other day. What's that Boardwalk Empire saying? What's that about?
Oh,
Is that right?
Empire, brilliant. Well, look, everyone's spoken about Sopranos, right? And I was one that didn't really get onto the Sopranos, but I decided I watched Boardwalk Empire, then I watched the Sopranos. Now, Sopranos is brilliant, don't get me wrong, but the ending is shocking.
True.
Boardwalk Empire is brilliant, and it's based on factual happenings as well, loosely and obviously dramatically. Empire is brilliant. Vikings, love the Vikings. If you haven't watched the Vikings, watch Vikings. That's not actually a bad idea. We can give ideas what to watch while they're isolated. Vikings is your epics. Claude he's got 89, the 89 game on repeat.
Yeah, 89, 87 when we beat Spurs in the semi, and the League Cup finals. All the cup finals, I get them all done. Yes. Even I went through that Barcelona final, and if Henry should have put that away, we would have won the Champions League that night.
Do you know what? I can't watch highlights of that or anything of that final. I cannot physically watch that because that people talking about a game that still hurts to this day is that game. Every time I watch that, I just get like, I just no, I can't watch it.
We've been talking about doing a what if show, right? And those sort of scenarios, like what if Van Persie didn't get sent off in that Champions League game against Barcelona? What if Lehmann didn't get sent off? What if Henry put that opportunity away? There's loads of things we can just watching. I mean, we've all seen Goodfellas. I mean, if you haven't, you should. What else is everyone watching? And what else is everyone doing? Sorry, Diesel, you mentioned Netflix. Is that all you've been doing? Netflix and chill on your one?
No, it's just a few of the others have put in the chat room as well. PS4, I've been on that. Listen, one of the best games I've ever played, and I've completed it 5 times. I can't put it down. As soon as I complete it, I start again.
Go on.
It's called Far Cry. Far Cry. I love it. I love it. I'm playing that. I'm playing FIFA.
I like Uncharted.
Yeah, that's good. I've got that. Football Manager as well. I'm playing that now on the laptop. I've got back into that again. Everything and anything, mate, to avoid talking to people, if I'm honest with you.
Claude, people are asking, do you play FIFA, Claude? Claude doesn't play
No,
FIFA. He wishes he does.
I played with Ty once. I got beat. I thought that was the end of my FIFA career. I get beat by bloody Ty.
Claude,
Anyway.
what did you used to play when you was a youngster, Claude? Was computers? Did you have?
No, when I was a youngster, there were no computers, were there? When I was a youngster,
well, did you not? No, none at all.
That's all we had.
Oh my God, Sabutio.
That's all we had when I was young.
So you
had none of computers. No computers then in them days, mate. You're lucky to get an orange at Christmas for Christmas presents.
We used to have the Commodore 64 with a cassette deck, right? And then I got really chuffed because my dad bought me the Spectrum 128 Plus 2, which had the cassette deck attached to it, not separately. But then I don't know if you guys at home remember this or if you guys here do, but to load a game, you'd have to put a tape in and it would take about 10 minutes. And these squiggly lines would come up either side of your screen. And you could go down, have your dinner. Or someone had an Amiga 1200, yeah. And you could go down, have your dinner, come back up, and it hasn't loaded. So you have to load it again. But my favourite games were Daley Thompson's Super Test, Commando, all these sort of platform games. So did you boys have that as well when you lot were growing up?
No, Amstrad. See, I'm 38. So obviously I'm probably the youngest on here, and or is it Daniel?
No, it's probably me.
What do you mean
shame.
probably? How old are you, Daniel?
Well, I'm 29, but I'll be 30 tomorrow. So yeah, my birthday's actually tomorrow. My birthday's
You're
actually
right,
tomorrow. So
probably
I'm
are.
Get that one quiet, didn't he?
yeah, just
Yeah.
Happy birthday for tomorrow, then, Daniel.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Danny boy.
I said,
Man,
So what you're doing for your
I said
birthday,
to
Danny?
I said to my wife earlier, it's going to be an interesting birthday because with all this going on, because obviously I'm sort of isolating because of her immune system and that. So I think we're just going to get like a takeaway in and something, and just watch a load of films on Netflix and that. So it's just, I think that's what we got planned for tomorrow. But
You know what, guys,
So
right?
Go on.
Right, sorry, I've just got to say, right, has your internet, your Wi-Fi at home suddenly proper slowed down? Because I know I get that everyone's at home now working and everyone's indoors now. My internet has proper slowed down.
Oh, it's terrible today.
I think it depends on the provider you're with.
Someone's got to put super chat in stuff. Is it stuff? Yeah, thank you very much. Claude, if you were Prime Minister, what would you do about coronavirus? What would I do?
It's
time to go!
And do you know what? If he said that, he probably would go.
I didn't see that coming at all, honestly. I didn't see that one coming for a minute.
Alpha Training says, happy birthday to Blind Gooner. Happy birthday, he says, from Alpha.
Mate,
thanks very much.
Claude for Prime Minister, says
hold
the
on.
No, I don't think so. No, I haven't got time for all that.
Secret Agent Randy Beans is from Cyprus. Yes.
Claude, you've got some support. Oh, look at this. Look, there's someone on here from Toronto, Canada. Melina. Mick from Cyprus. Blimey.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Melina. Thank you very much.
That's my homeland. That's my motherland.
What's that?
I'm having problems tonight as well. That's why I've got a lot of problems here with the connection here. It's been
Cyprus
going on and off.
Cyprus is a lovely place, man. I love Cyprus.
Maybe coronavirus has hit the bloody internet as well, I think.
I think it depends on the provider you're with, though, as well, doesn't it? I think it depends on...
Because Diesel's still on Talk, isn't he? Diesel still uses MSN chat.
The old hamster wheel.
I'm on.
IOL.
I'm saying.
See, I very rarely get internet problems because I'm on the fiber optic Virgin, and I very rarely get internet problems. Like
Diesel's a fiber optic Virgin. He's never used one.
I've never used it, mate. Honestly, I'm still on Face Party. I'm still on MySpace.
New York City is dead. He said, "Look, dead."
Is he? Are you in New York now, Simon? Let us know, mate. What's happening out there? And are you guys in the chat? Let us know. What are you guys been doing to keep yourselves occupied? Talk to us. Claude is the most honest, truthful Arsenal fan out there. That's another one paid for. Lavanja, are you half Cypriot then? No, mate. I'm full Cypriot. My family from Buffer. Yasu. Diesel. Where are you? Oh, let's get a bit more Diesel. So, hold on. In my opinion, you can't give Liverpool the title. If you do, have to give everyone the place there are now, and that would not be fair. What do you reckon, Diesel?
They wouldn't give it. If they avoided the season, they wouldn't do it anyway. They wouldn't give it.
Yeah, I think it'll be voided.
Interesting news coming in. Big news coming in from the Gunner. I cannot get milk from anywhere. Can anyone get some milk to the Gunner, please?
Well, I'll have to see where he's based. I'll send him some.
Nick from Wood Green, North London boy. Nice to see you, man. I know New River Sports Centre used to play in the Gobba League there as well. So I'm sure you'll know that, Nick. Come on, guys, talk to me. What else? So
we played the seven-a-side tournament there.
New River
Sports Centre. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right there. What else? So, Daniel, what have you been feeling in your time? You said you were watching some DVD. It's your birthday tomorrow. I thought you were going to
just Netflix, and I mean, I'm sort of lucky as well because I have to go out and get fresh air as well because I've got a guide dog. So actually, I've still been able to walk the dog and you know, being able to get out this is helping. You know, it's helping a lot. So yeah, I've just been, other than walking the dog, just been watching Netflix, listening to a lot of audio books. I've got through about 20 books in about 5 days. So
Daniel, I don't like reading. I do the same, mate. You've got an excuse to listen to audio books. I rather just listen to stories on audio book. I'm just lazy that way.
I just.
Melina wishes you a happy birthday, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Everyone, mate. Everyone's giving Daniel loads of love here.
Can I just say as well, everybody in the chat who's not subscribed to me, go and subscribe to the Blind Gooner. I'd really appreciate it.
That'd be a nice present for Daniel.
Yeah.
For his birthday. He wants a subscription for his birthday. Subscribe for his birthday.
The Blind Gooner. Subscribe to the Blind Gooner.
People have been asking
if anyone's able to. If any of you guys are able to, can you post my link in the chat so they can click on it, or if any of you are about there?
Yeah.
There's people asking our ages and all sorts now. This is getting serious, guys. I'm not going to reveal ages. Let's just say that I'm the youngest one in here.
Simon. I'll ask you that question, Simon. If Arsenal was in Liverpool's position, would you avoid the season? I think not. Of course I wouldn't. And I wouldn't avoid it now for Liverpool. I don't think it's fair if the season was void. I think they've deserved the title. I think they've deserved the title. They've been the best team a long way. And I think
they do deserve the title. They do deserve the title.
There's my stance on it. I'm not going to. There's no bias with me, mate. I'll tell you that now.
Do you know what? I agree with you. I know it's a bit of tongue in cheek with regards to Liverpool fans, but I do think they deserve it. We should just.
Can I ask you this as well, though? If Tottenham were in Liverpool's position, would you avoid the title?
Oh well, that's different.
Let Claude go first.
Yeah,
I would. Go on, Claude.
Shut up.
Of course I would.
Go on, Claude. Claude on the spot now. Because you said you're not being.
You know what? I would have stopped watching football.
Go on, Claude.
You know what?
I would. Yeah.
You'd give it to him,
I'm a hypocrite. I would avoid the season.
I'm one of them.
Right?
I'm one of them guys, right? I'm one of them fans who, look, obviously, we all hate Tottenham, right? But I'm also a firm believer in credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
So when you look at Liverpool, won 27 out of 29 games, they've been relentless. I'm sorry, with all that graft that they've put in, you'd have to. We'd be kicking off, right, if we was in that position and the season was void. So you got to be transparent and you got to play it fair. That's how I look at it.
A few people are asking questions about the transfer market. All right, so some people are looking a little bit ahead, which is fair enough. So Arsenal vlogs. Do you think Arsenal need to be active in the transfer window? 1, sign Upamecano. 2, party. I think he means not partney, but party. Yeah. And 3, Grealish and a right back. We are ready. We are ready. Easy top 3 or 4 next year if we do that. I mean, a lot of people think Bellerin is a bit weak. So, what are your thoughts on that, boys, with regards to the transfer window?
Sign what? Sign who is it?
Right, he said to sign Partey, Upper Meccano, Grealish, and a right back.
Yeah, all very easy to say, but I'm afraid. No,
I think again it
I take up
depends.
I
It
don't
all
know
depends on Champions
much
League.
about. I'm not Grealish's bit. I'm not sure. I'd rather have Maddison than Grealish. Me
Yeah. What do you fans see in Grealish? I don't get it. What are you seeing?
Problem with Grealish is he looks good because he plays for a shit team. You put him in a good team like Arsenal and he'd look average. I just don't think he would. I don't think he'll be a. I don't think he'd be as good if you put him around bigger players.
Do you guys think Martinelli will leave Arsenal? What do you think of this, guys? Do you think because he's apparently who is it? Someone came in for a bid. I don't know if it was Barcelona or someone. I think it was Real Madrid came in with a bid, thinking of trying to poach him at the end of the season. And apparently, people are saying that Arteta's not his biggest fan. So that'd be interesting to see how that goes.
Oh, I can't see.
Who's that? Martinelli.
Yeah, and I think the longer we keep on to him, the more he'll his work. I don't know. See that.
I can't see that Arteta doesn't like him. Listen, if anyone's going to be the first casualty under Arteta because he doesn't like them, it's going to be Maitland-Niles, isn't it? He's already come out and made it clear that Maitland-Niles is not doing enough to get in the team.
Thank you very much, Melina. Very nice of you. Thank you.
I mean, the question mark about Maitland-Niles is his attitude, more than anything. I mean, people say I kind of like Grealish, Diesel. You were saying you can't see it, and I love the way also Diesel when you say something, you go all Sky Sports and hold one ear. I love that. What do you guys think? What do you?
I just don't get why you like Grealish.
Why Grealish? Talk to me. But yeah, Maddison or Grealish. I mean, I'd have either one to be honest with you. But who would you drop out then? Who goes there? Then you mentioned Maitland-Niles. Who's definitely going? Diesel. Talk to me.
Okay. We are here. Can you hear me? Right.
Yeah.
First of all, yeah, I think Grealish is very, very overrated. I think the fact he's English is what probably boosts him. I can't believe that no one's talking about John McGinn because I think he's a much better player and I would take him over Grealish in a heartbeat. Now that's that one done. Second of all, Maitland-Niles, I don't rate him at all. I think he's very arrogant. That's just how he comes across to me. Needs to understand that he's at a big club. We are a big club. We're not moving like one, but we are a big club. And dictating where he wants to play. He doesn't want to play here. He wants to play there. You're playing for the Arsenal. You play wherever the fuck you're told to play. That's my view. You're playing for a club that most of us would dream and die to play for. So that doesn't cut it with me. So he's got to go. Xhaka's got to go. There's a lot of them. Ozil's my number one priority.
I agree with that.
For me, he's got to go. If he goes and no one else, if we can sell one player in the summer and it's him, I'll be happy with that.
It's a shame we can't just terminate Ozil's contract and say, hey, go find another club. Yeah, I'll be happy. Exactly. I'm at that point where with Ozil, I would just go, you know what? I'm not even fussed about getting money or anything for him. Just terminate his contract.
Okay. Some people in here are saying that Aubameyang and Lacazette are going to go. That's another podcast entirely, isn't it? Really. Sorry, Claude. Go ahead, mate.
Okay, I think we need to wrap this one up. I think we've been on here. We've been on here for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Thank you, everyone in the chat.
Claude's got plans tonight.
Thank you for the chat.
It's that phone call, wasn't it? It was that phone call.
I was going to say.
Unfortunately, my phone. No, what it was, it still goes on to the lap. It goes on to the thing.
It does, yeah. It does. When you get a phone call, it goes onto your computer as well.
And the trouble is now, what I'll have to do in future is just switch the phone off. Or put it on silent. Sorry about that. Sorry about it for everyone's disturbance tonight. But guess who? I won't tell you who actually made the phone call. But anyway, I'll let you all guess. Anyway, so that's it for everyone. Thank you very much.
Read that Jesse James comment.
No, don't read that. Don't read that. Thanks, Jesse James, for that one.
Yeah, I wish I was, mate. That would have been a good excuse, actually. Anyway,
thanks for having us on, Claude.
Yeah, thanks for having. Thanks, Claude.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah,
happy birthday for tomorrow.
Cheers.
Hope you have a great one tomorrow. Enjoy it.
Yeah,
plenty of
do.
food, whatever you drink, have it down your throat tomorrow. Have a great time. Diesel, always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure. My
Love
bro.
you, Claude. Not some, mate.
My bro.
My guy. Come on.
My bro.
Diesel,
always a pleasure. Lev, my bro as well, mate. Always a pleasure having you.
Thank you, mate.
Big things to come on this channel. Can't say too much at the moment, but we're going forward. We are going forward.
Guys. Like and subscribe, please.
Like and subscribe. We're going forward. Thanks everyone for joining.
And please check out my channel, guys, as well. Please,
please
go and give
check that one out. Subscribe. Please subscribe. Let's get Daniel. Let's get Daniel up to it.
I love Daniel plugging himself. He's just plugging away there.
Hey, listen, I'm just starting out, so I've got to plug where.
Keep plugging.
I just got to plug where possible.
Bye for now. Bye for now.
Cheers, guys. All the best.